Okay. So, good morning. My name is Helena, and here are my colleagues, Alexandre and Xènia. We are geologists, and we are doing our PhD. I'm at the Institute of Earth Science of CSIC, and they are at the Faculty of Geology at UB. So, to begin, we will explain why our research is interesting for all of us, and after that we show you different methodologies to study the soil and groundwater, and finally we give you conclusions. So to begin, why is important to study soil and subsoil? First of all, because we need water for drink, basically, or to irrigate fields, and this water is at the subsoil, and we need to check what is the quantity and the quality of this water. So how we study this water? We use different techniques depending on the part of the soil and the subsoil, and we can divide the subsoil in 3 different parts. The first part is the soil. It drains the surface from the surface to the bottom of the roots, and after that is the transit zone from the bottom of the roots to the water table, and finally we find the aquifer where it's the water. So for each compartment we use different techniques, and in the first part, which is the soil, we can characterize the physical parameters on the chemical composition and mineralogy. We can develop different experiments, both at field or at the laboratory. Then we analyze the input water, which is the rain water or irrigation water coming from different treatment plants. And then we also analyze the lixiviates that are the water being in contact with this soil. And these lixiviates, depending on the composition of the soil, will be different, and we want to see if particular elements are retaining in soil or are being lixiviated to the aquifer. So we analyze these soils by using X-ray fluorescence for the chemical composition, and X-ray diffraction for the mineralogy, and ACP for the water composition. And then, after that, we move on to the second part of the presentation. So, Alex, please.
Okay, thank you, Helena. Let's go on to the next zone, to the transit zone. In this zone, in the transit zone, it's difficult to get or to obtain samples. And for that reason, we propose to combine direct techniques as slag tests with indirect techniques. As indirect techniques, we use electrical resistivity tomography, which is a geophysical technique. With this kind or with this sort of techniques, we obtain the distribution after an inversion process of a property of the subsoil. In this case, this is a 100-meter long profile with different colors. Each color corresponds to a different electrical resistivity value. We also use these techniques because are well suited to provide useful information for land and groundwater management, as for instance, ACBAR. With these techniques, we obtain, with resistivity data, a 20 kilometer per 20 kilometer transit time map. This transit time is an important parameter because in the transit zone, degradation processes occur. And these processes need time. And it's important to know how much time water is spent in the transit zone. In this map, we can see different zones with different colors. For instance, the red zone are zones in which our groundwater will be more vulnerable to be polluted by surface contamination. And in the green zone, our groundwater will be more protected to be polluted by surface contamination. And then, after these two very briefly examples, we move on to the next zone, which is the aquifer. And Xènia, please. Okay.
Thank you, Alex. Well, I will tell you about the aquifer. The characterization of the aquifer and the flow can be done in many ways. First, I need to know the direction of the flow, the line Talbeck and the other things for characterization of the aquifer, to design the piezometric map. The groundwater table is the level below which the ground is completely saturated with water. We need to define the aquifer properties because we use these properties to understand the behavior of the aquifer. Some properties are hydraulic conductivity, velocity flux, and other properties. We use the slug test, dilution, puntal dilution test, and other push-pull tests, other things to describe these properties. When we see the results of these tests, puntal dilution and the others, we can check the heterogeneity of the aquifer. That's very important. In general conclusions, the subsoil is heterogeneous. That's important, this idea. We need to know the quantity and quality of the groundwater resource, and it's impossible to obtain this assessment with only one technique. For that reason, it is necessary an interdisciplinary approach. Voldríem donar les gràcies, sobretot al comitè organitzatiu, per haver-nos donat aquesta oportunitat, als nostres partners perquè puguem fer el doctorat, tinguem un finançament i sobretot a tots vosaltres per la vostra assistència.